he'll plan on logging in a little while. He had a commitment first thing of the before the meeting, so we'll start the meeting at 6:05. So welcome everybody. Glad to see everybody, and we've been talking about everyone being healthy and getting vaccines, and great. I'm glad to hear all that. Let's start off as we usually do with our Pledge of Allegiance. So if everyone would follow after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one
nation under God,
indivisible,
liberty,
and justice for all.
And let me do the roll call real quick. I'm here, Chip Kohler's here, Brian Gephardt.
Present.
You, Carla Cox.
Present.
I know Ashok is missing tonight. He sent me a notice he was not going to be here. Jeff Bowen.
I'm here.
And Kathy Lang.
Here.
Siv Mahante. Susan Howe. Oh, there's Siv. Siv just got in under the wire. Susan Howe.
I'm here.
Oh, good. There you are. And Paul Whitman. Paul's been getting the emails. He's been responding. I'm surprised he's not here. Okay, Vanita Verma.
Here.
Good. And Brian, we mentioned Stanley Ng.
Here.
And Eric Chu.
Hi.
And Gerald Green is not going to be with us. And Kelly, you'll tell us about Gerald in a few minutes. Sharon probably won't be with us either. Luis, you've started the video, I'm sure. And Judith Wallace is here. And then we have two new people, Lisa McLean and Clarissa Lee Dominguez.
Yes, here.
All right. And Judith, were you going to introduce Lisa and Clarissa now, or did you want to do that later?
It's whatever, if that fits with the, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead.
So again, introducing two new people tonight. As evidently you have heard from Kelly, Gerald has left the program, and Lisa McLean is Vanner's new program manager, who will be in that position moving forward. I'm really excited to introduce Lisa. She's been with Vanner for 17 years or something long like that. Does that sound about right? And
23.
sorry about that. Yeah. And many years involved in K-12 projects. We actually pulled her off of our program at San Francisco Unified, where she was leading Vanner's program team of about the same size of the project here. So she brings a wealth of California K-12 experience, and is a local resident with a 5-minute commute. So she's 10-minute commute. So she's really excited about becoming part of the program long-term.
All right, good. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello. Thank you.
And Clarissa, you all had also known that the program, and Clarissa is to step into exactly the same role. We called it financial administrator, I think is our term for it, but
Yeah.
she's working directly under Stan. So Stan is the one who's responsible for bringing Clarissa up to speed on all of the process and procedures that we've been doing and the reporting. So she's had a lot of support from Stan. She comes with a very strong background in construction, accounting, finance, accounting, and we're really excited to have her. I think she'll be a real asset to the team as well. So welcome, Clarissa.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Clarissa, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
All
you
right.
all.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to the minutes of the last meeting, April 14th. They were emailed out with the, or a few days ago. Any comments, corrections, additions? If not, we need a motion to approve.
Move approval of the minutes.
In a second, please. I'll second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. And has there been any oral or written communications that need to be reported? I'm not aware of any from outside of our committee. Let's see, Kelly, do you have any outside communications that you need to report on?
No, we didn't receive any.
Okay. Kathy or Brian, did you, or Carla or Jeff, anybody? Nope.
No.
Okay. None. Okay. All right, let's go on with our agenda then. Brian, you wanted to report on the long-range facility plan. We had a meeting a week or so ago, but why don't you go ahead and report where we stand with the long-range facility plan? Brian Gephardt.
Thank you, Chip. Just pulling my notes. Sorry about that. So, and obviously, I will ask Kelly to add anything I might miss. But we had a meeting with Kelly and staff, and a joint meeting between CBOC and FAC subcommittees to kind of talked about our involvement in the long-range facilities plan. The work timeline has shifted, so the urgency behind figuring out our representation is not as urgent. The original plan had surveying sites happening now, but because of everything going on around reopening schools and a number of other things, I think the staff has wisely decided to move work around and shifted the surveys to the fall, and kind of, but the team will still continue to be evaluating the facilities. So the progress in long-range facilities plan will continue. So the recommendation from the subcommittee that met with staff is that that we reconvene the CBOC and FAC subcommittees before the September meeting of CBOC and FAC, and kind of just review the updated timelines and plans and decide the best way for our two committees to participate, and then bring forward that recommendation to the full CBOC and the full FAC for approval and discussion. And yeah, I think that's the summary. I don't know if Kelly, if there's anything else you wanted to add or clarify.
No, Brian, I think you summed it up pretty clearly. We are just to give you context as to why the schedule has shifted. You know, the cabinet and the superintendent, as well as other staff, have, you know, our priorities have shifted based on us being needing to address the full opening of school in the fall. And so that's why part of the shift has occurred, because we're using a lot of our resources to make sure that that is addressed sufficiently. And so we felt it wouldn't be fair to try and divide everybody's attention and divert it away from that. So, but Brian was correct. We will be picking things back up and moving forward in the fall, and have better direction and clarity for you all in terms of how you all can participate at that time.
And I'll just add one remark. When Kelly talks about resources, she's not talking about just facilities. She's talking about the principals, teachers, outreach to the community. And so to try to do this and the reopening work at the same time, that work at the same time as that of our local school leadership it was, I could see why that would be too much. It'd be better to make sure we focus on the reopening.
Certainly makes sense to me to focus on real. So yeah, I agree.
I don't know if there are any other questions from the CBOC. Otherwise, our update is complete.
Okay, thank you for the report. We'll keep moving forward. The next item is to try to wrap up the bond program audit status. This is the
Sorry about that. My microphone was off. I apologize. So I did reach out to our auditor, and she is in the process of responding to the question that you had regarding the use of funds for Williamson and the overall. I forgot the second question, but she's going to be addressing the two questions. But from what I've gathered in my phone conversation with her, is that the dollar amount that was identified for Williamson was based on a report that she had received regarding future dollars that would be spent, but those dollars have not actually been encumbered nor taken from Measure E at this time, but they were identified as potential dollars that will be taken if they are available from Measure E for the Williamson project. But she's gonna, as I said, get us a formal response and share with me in detail how that information came about. So, and once I have that, I'll be able to share that with you all.
Kelly, this is Kathy, and I'm the one who's been kind of yelping about this. I am not sure that funds to be spent on a school that is not constructed is a proper Measure E expenditure. If you read the bond measure, it's very, very specific, and a property that is not within, doesn't have anything on it, is inappropriate. For funds to come from Measure E, whether there's money left over from Measure E or not. And that's really the purpose of this committee, is to make sure that funds are spent according to the provisions of the measure. And I do not think that it falls under the provisions of the measure.
And as I stated in my response to you, I'm not in disagreement with you. And that's why I needed to investigate further, because I wasn't aware, and I needed to get more history behind what that item was and why that was there. And so once I get all of the information, I'll be able to share that with you and provide some clarification if it's required. And if you all still feel that way after that information is provided, you know, we of course can, you know, take it up with the powers that be to, you know, address it and resolve your concerns.
okay. So between now and our next meeting, do you think she'll put something in writing and send it out so we can look at it before the next meeting?
I had asked her to get back to me today. But I did not have anything in my email, and I did not have a phone call. So I'm hoping it'll appear tomorrow, but we definitely will have something ready before our next get together.
Okay. Well, if she sends something, go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to echo what Kathy said, that I don't believe Williamson and there were a couple other properties on the list should be at all related to Measure E at this point. And so, you know, if the explanation could clear everything up, but I'd be surprised if I could be in a position to support that audit report that includes any reference to Williamson or the horse property at this stage. So I do think I will continue to not support the audit report unless we can get it amended.
So one of the things that is very helpful to me, I know that you all are aware that Raul Perungao is back. And this is one of the items that I actually did discuss with him earlier in the week. And because he has historical knowledge, as well as the kind of like he's the author of the bond, right? Because he was here when all of it sort of was conceived. I've asked him to look back in his files and kind of help me understand, you know, the intent and direction that the development of the bond sort of was framed around, and provide me just some access to kind of what he was thinking and how those things came about. So I'm hoping we'll have some answers. I see that Benita has her hand up.
Yes, I was gonna call on her. Benita, go ahead.
I was going to say exactly what Brian said, and what Kathy said, that we have to be a little bit more cognizant of where the money is spent, and I don't think a facility which is not in use should be taking a piece of Measure E money. So, thank you.
Okay, good. So Kelly, if you get the reply in the next, day or whatever, please send it to me and I'll send it out to the rest of the committee.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. All right, anything else on that item? Let's move on to the,
That was all.
sorry?
I said that was all for me.
Okay, good. The other one is the other audit, the program audit, and what is the status of that? I know you've received the report, but it has not been forwarded to me as far as I know, so I can forward it out to the rest of us.
It has not, because the superintendent and the cabinet still have it. And I've not been given direction as to, one, what their thoughts are and their evaluation. And they've not given me permission to release it at this point. So once I have it, you all will definitely receive it, but it is under review by them at this time. And I don't have a timeline from them as to when they're going to finish, but I do know that they have it, they're reviewing it. And I was instructed to stand pat and wait for their direction. So.
Okay. All right, just so you know, open disclosure, in our draft of the annual report that we make to the board, and we're going to make on June 2nd, we've put it as a topic, as an open topic, that we haven't received the report. So we can change that if we get it beforehand, but
Sure.
I just
No,
wanted to
I apologize on their behalf, but unfortunately I don't have the I don't have the ability to.
Oh, no, I understand. I know you got your, you get your orders from above. We know you got a boss. That's fine.
So,
we get it.
rest assured, I think you guys will be happy with it because we had some really positive things that were brought up in that. So I think that you shouldn't have your boots shaking. We have a good grasp on Measure E. So I think you guys will be relatively happy. But as I said, I'm not at liberty to release it to you guys at this point.
Okay, good. Okay, let's go on. Let's see, the annual CBOC report to the Fremont Unified School Board status. The report I sent out, Kathy and Siv and I have worked on the first draft. The draft has been sent out to the entire board. We'd like your comments back as soon as possible. If you can send your comments to, reply all to everybody on the board and send them back to me, we'll incorporate them or discuss them, whichever the case may be. But we have to send the report into the office by May 27th. Our report will be presented at the June 2nd meeting unless there's been a change. I have not heard of a change.
No,
Kelly,
it is on the agenda.
okay, good.
We did agenda review yesterday and we did see that is on there as a placeholder. So
Okay, good. So we will be ready to go and standing by. That's out there, and I appreciate everybody's feedback. Any discussion or any comments or questions about the PowerPoint that was sent out? That anybody wants to bring up right away, or?
I just a couple things.
Okay.
One, we should not reply to all with feedback on the report because of the it's the Brown Act. But sharing our feedback with each makes perfect sense. And I wanted to thank you guys for the work you've done, because I've skimmed through it and there's a lot of great stuff in there. And I know from experience that it did take some effort to pull it together. So I appreciate it, and it looks very good to me.
Okay. We sort of had to recycle last year's pictures, and Kelly, if you have any new pictures from the various projects, various facilities that you can send, or Judith or anybody, send them over and we'll put them in.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're kind of recycling the old pictures.
So I have, I don't know, Lisa, we probably have some new pictures this week at Thornton with they have new, the 3 buildings at Thornton, the skeletal structure is up. And then I know the Washington Theater, they have some nice, like progress photos to show you, like, here's what it is before, here's, 50% complete, and here's where we are right now.
Okay.
And we'll send you a bunch of different ones so you can pick and choose.
Yeah, if you could either send them to me or send me a link to where they are, in the system, I can dig them out too, but I just don't have the link.
And we'll
I'm
also
not aware of the link, so.
we'll reach out to the architects for the completed projects to see if we can get some of those architectural renderings that they created for their marketing materials. 'Cause
Yep.
those are really nice. So
That'd be good stuff too. Yep.
maybe they'll be able to share those with us.
Okay, perfect.
Kelly, did you all go through an effort to collect some photos when you did the community meetings?
Yes, but they were not very, they weren't
No.
good. And we've made so much progress since those were taken that it would probably behoove us to go through some of the newer stuff that we have. So it shows active, relevant stuff, but I do know we do have some renderings from those. So we can definitely share those.
Okay.
Last year, we used a lot of the ribbon cutting kind of ceremony pictures, but I know we probably didn't even do that this year, so.
No, we
That
still
was
are
unfortunate.
waiting to get the go ahead to do that
I
for
know,
our new sites.
right,
So
okay,
we'll cross our fingers and maybe we'll have them in the fall if everybody's all vaccinated and they, let us be out of all of these tiers so that we can be together again. But we'll see.
right,
I did have one additional comment, Chip, or
Yeah.
question / comment. Looking at the presentation, where would you guys who worked on the presentation say you're kind of highlighting what went well? I think I like the areas of concern, showing we're all keeping an eye on it, but want to make sure we're accentuating the positive as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, everybody's feedback is welcome on, especially on stuff like that. We don't want to just focus on the shortcomings. We do want to focus on accomplishments. So I agree. We don't want to overlook anything.
So if I have thoughts, I'll share them with you and the
Yeah, that'd be
subcommittee
great.
independently. But
Right.
Thank you again.
Okay, and thanks for the reminder of the reply all. I'm not a Brown Act expert, and thanks for keeping me out of jail. Okay, let's move along. We're at the finance report, the budget report. Stanley, I think you're going to give the report.
Yes.
Okay, and let's see. I gotta let you share. I think you can share now.
Got it.
All right. You got it? Okay.
Yep. Does everybody see my screen?
We can see it loud and clear.
Great. Just the biggest highlight is not.
Stand 1 second before you move ahead. Can
Sure.
I request you to zoom in a little bit?
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
I will probably need micro.
Yeah. Let me minimize this. And let me see if I can get a little bit bigger. Hopefully that helps.
Yes.
That looks good.
So the biggest update or the biggest change is that there isn't a big change. So relative to the last report where the program contingency was increased with additional revenue posted from the state funding. Unfortunately, we don't have something like that wonderful this time. So, but the contingency fund is as it was at the last report, about 16.3 million and the remaining funds for the middle school conversions, the bucket of funds available for Centerville and Hopkins is
And might I just interrupt you
4.2.
for a second?
Yes.
The 16 million was actually not reported the last meeting because we had just gotten those dollars very shortly after we had posted the report. So I just wanted to make sure that they knew that, because it was around $3.5 million the last time. And then we added our additional funds, and it's now 16. And so I just wanted to make sure that they knew that, because we didn't have that identified the last time in its entirety.
Actually, Kelly, I'm looking at last month side by side with this month's in paper format, and it did show 16.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must be looking at the wrong one. My apologies.
Okay.
No worries. And just looking at the in-progress projects, primary changes are added expenditures. Of note, just looking at the projects that are essentially complete, American High School, Walters complete, of course. We're in the process of doing what we usually call a sweep, where if there are line items within the project budget itself that are not anticipated to be committed, then we would essentially move those to contingency within the project. So just looking at this, this is essentially existing contingency funds within the project that at last review, we felt confident in noting reporting as surplus. Looking further within the project as we sweep it, I anticipate this number growing a little bit. So that's something we'll do within the next month prior to the next report. And also, as fiscal year is coming, we're also looking closely at things like that to make sure that we have a proper accounting of what's happened in the current fiscal year. And as part of the close of fiscal year, we also do transactions to make sure that we're posting the correct dollars for, say, program administrative fees and things against the individual projects. So that'll be happening as we're closing this fiscal year. So again, Walters is another one of those projects that are essentially closed, and I will coordinate closely with Kelly and Lisa to adjust the status appropriately, potentially moving it into the completed section of the financials, potentially by the next report. As far as the other in-progress projects, a number of them are essentially at their beginning stages. So again, you're seeing relatively smaller expenditure amounts relative to the project size. So as of course, as everything progresses, you'll see it, you'll see the expenditures increase. Horner is also kind of in that category, but there was the Horner locker room project essentially is in progress. So that's essentially the loan work remaining. And I'm kind of like stealing Kelly's thunder in her project status report right now, but numbers wise, that's kind of what's trending right now. So
Stanley, while you're on that page, right about where your pointer is right now.
yes.
Facilities, construction on the VoIP, the clock, the bell, and all that.
Similar.
I thought that one was pretty well closed out, and there's a follow-on VoIP and upgrade, but I thought this one was closed out.
Yeah. Essentially, this falls into that same category, Chip, of needing to do the sweep, and then I can move it into the closed category.
So that one's going to finish about 200K underrun?
Let me check. I don't want to raise hopes too much, but I anticipate some savings there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I had a comment actually that I thought, kind of going back to an earlier agenda item, I think the improvements that staff has made to the report, so this one and the following report, is something we should call out as a highlight in the last year, because I think I appreciate, you know, staff's done a lot of work, continue to make these even more transparent. I think that's worth celebrating and telling the board about.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, anybody else, questions, comments, concerns? Okay, thank you, Stan.
Thanks. I will yield the screen.
Okay, let's go on to Kelly and the monthly project status report, unless Lisa's going to do the report.
I'm actually going to turn it over to Lisa. She's
Okay.
most intimate and familiar with all of the particulars of all the projects, so I will allow her to take us on through that report.
Okay, hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all somewhat virtually. So in the monthly, I'm sorry? Oh, the monthly status update, we have, there's actually been quite a bit of good movement since what I saw in the last report in comparison. So Thornton Middle School.
Lisa, did you need us to share the screen?
Oh, sorry. Let me, yeah.
I mean, if you didn't have it, I could pull it up and do it.
No, I have it right here. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yes? Is it showing? Perfect.
It
Okay.
is showing again. I'll request the same thing that I requested Stan for to do.
Bigger. Make it bigger. How's that?
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. Now I have the same problem, even with my glasses. Okay, so Thornton Middle School conversion, phases 3B and 4. These are the design projects still in design. There's been, but essentially both 3B and 4 are in project review, DSA comment review on 4 and incorporation on 3B. Centerville Middle School conversion, phase 3, increment 2, which is the locker room modernization and the portable locker room. So that one has actually, the portable locker room design is in progress. That should be complete about November. The locker room mod design, that's in DSA back check. And then, so once both of these complete, they should complete about the same time. Procurement then would be anticipated in November, December, with construction scheduled to begin in January of next year. We have Kennedy High School still in design as well, just moving from DD to CD. We actually should be kicking off CD next week. So there was a preliminary hygienist report analysis. So we have gotten approval to have the hygienist go back out and complete their survey, their final site survey, mostly focusing on the ceilings, the very asbestos heavily laden ceilings. And we have also asked them to use Tremco's report, roof report and use that in comparison to with their analysis to make sure that we don't have any issues we want to address in terms of hazardous materials on the roof. So we will get confirmation on that. And then, as I said, we'll move into CD phase next week. The group 1 elementary schools, they were in on the last report. We had just put out the RFP. The RFP now has been resolved. That was received, proposals were received, we scored them, and those were awarded on 4/22. So the agreements are in process right now. Melissa's processing those agreements, and we will get those out to the 2 architects that were awarded. DLR group was awarded 3 projects, and then a group called Maddie 196. Interesting name. They were awarded 2 projects. And then, so once those agreements are processed, we'll get them out some as-builts and we'll do a design kickoff to move into assessment. Okay, IT scope gap, as I understand, This is an assessment that's under review or complete. The assessment is complete under review by FUSD, and then there's determination as to whether that will be disseminated into the 5 Group 1 projects, or if it's going to be a standalone and act independently of the projects, but addressing each site. So we'll look at what happens with that. I think there's going to be further determination for that. And as Stan alluded to in his financial update, Horner Middle School conversion portable locker room is an additional portion of scope that was approved for Horner, I guess. So that locker room is in design, was received DSA approval on 5/7. So Roblin is the construction manager on Horner, so they are preparing the bid documentation for procurement. And then we anticipate on going through that process and hitting the 623 board for award. Okay, and then we move into the construction projects. Hopkins Middle School conversion. There was a bid protest, as you may know. That bid protest was resolved. The contract was awarded to Lathrop Associates. NTP was issued on 5/7, and they're doing a bang up job on kicking that project off. Lathrop is very proactive and are doing a great job working with Roblin to go, they're going through the process of construction mobilization setup. There have been already a few meetings with the principal to make sure that the whole team is cohesive and everybody's moving forward, and they're all, it's going really well so far. Good kickoff, which is always really nice.
Question. This is Carla Cox.
Hi. Yes.
Lisa, what's a bid protest?
So what happens is the bids are received, and it's not uncommon for one contractor, typically the low 3, the lowest apparent bidder, apparent low bid. The next 1 or 2 may review their bid, and if there is some indication in the bid, something they might find that they would like to question or they disagree with, then they file a bid protest. And so that protest is reviewed. And then it depends on, what the protest entails, whether or not it is taken to a next step, or in this case, the protest was determined to be non-substantiated, and so the district was able to, after review with the legal, the district was able to respond to the second lowest bidder and decline their protest and continue with the award to Lathrop. Does that answer your
So
question?
hi, Lisa, this is Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. Yeah, so what has been the climate out there? Have you been receiving a lot of bid these days with the shelter in place and the COVID?
Well, the bids are received digitally, and then the bid opening is also done digitally. So it really lends itself to the opportunity for multiple contractors, as they would normally attend in person. It has not seemed to impact, as far as I can tell.
Oh, that's awesome.
At all.
So has they been coming usually like lower than the engineering estimates, or sort of like above? Just kind of curious.
Actually, Hopkins did come in lower than the engineer estimate, which was nice because it allowed the district to then award all of the alternates. So, and we can then have a full comprehensive package. So there were 4 alternates on this project, and because of the good bid environment we have right now, and the fact that the bid came in a little bit lower than anticipated, we were able to award all 4 alternates and keep them in the project.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, you're
That's
welcome.
great news. Yeah.
Lisa?
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a really nice. We were excited.
Hey,
CM
Lisa?
was even more excited. Okay,
Do
so
when these bids come in, do they include all the construction materials too? The steel, lumber, concrete, on a
all
firm fixed
labor
price?
materials fully resource loaded. Yeah.
Because I've been hearing that construction material costs have just skyrocketed. So are these bids coming in kind of consistent with what we had in our budgets, or are they coming in a much higher?
As I was saying, I've only been so far, Hopkins is the only one that opened, and that opened like a week or so after I got here.
Uh-huh.
So, and as I said, it actually came in under the engineer's estimate.
Wow.
So I don't see any impact on the materials at this time.
So one of the other things, Chip, that we've done as part of sort of anticipating, we've actually looked at some of the scope modifications on some of these projects to offset that expense that we have. So for instance, on Thornton, we did experience an increase in steel prices, but because block construction had already negotiated the full value of the requirements for the project 2 years ago, we didn't actually get that brunt of the increase, but they did share with us the manifest increases, the tickets showing upwards of 25 to 30% increase in the cost of steel at this time. Some of the other products that we're experiencing escalation in is the VCT flooring and any rubber or petroleum products. We're starting to see those increases, but we've been very good in looking at how we can offset those costs through either modifications of product, or the contractor's been very good at looking at how they can either minimize the cost of install, or they'll hold their prices just because I'm not approving change orders. So, but yes, we are seeing it.
Okay.
Okay.
But one thing on the report that I noticed this month versus last month is on Thornton Middle School, the very first item on design. Last month, we were showing a project budget of about 80.2 million, and this month it's showing 92.5 million. So something went up on that one.
Chip, I think it's just the adjustment. I think it was the full budget was inadvertently posted. The full budget is 92 million. So the 12 million below plus the 80 would be the total. So it was just a
So that's, sorry, I want to make everybody dizzy here.
We'll correct
that. It's
that.
this 12 million. Okay.
Yeah, we need to
So
correct
then
that.
I should say included below. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't find a pocket of money.
I was going to say, is Stan printing money again?
It's monopoly money.
Okay, so then I should actually put that this is included above, or vice versa. Okay, Washington High School Theater, construction's on.
Change that they made in the report this go around is previously, since originally when projects are first in design, they're all one project, and then they broke into phases, and there had been an attempt to put the money with the increment 4, increment 3, and those numbers move around a lot. So what we did is go back to having the total project budget in one place.
Okay.
Right.
Rather than having them broken out, because the way it was previously, if you actually added up all other projects, they wouldn't add up to exactly match the financial report.
Right.
So it's a cleanup item that Lisa did when she took over the report.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for example, I put included below here, and then so the total corner budget is actually down here where it's the first portion is in closeout.
Okay.
So, but this Horner locker room is that an incremental piece of scope that's left over. So, okay, let's go down Washington School Theater, High School Theater. The last report that was just kicking up this month. At this point in time, the construction's ongoing. They're about 40% complete. And I just added that there's asphalt work to begin on 5/17. And that was related to some questions about tree roots. So they're going to go ahead and start removing the asphalt to get to the tree roots, and then determination can be made from there what to do about the tree roots. So I went ahead and noted that for us. Centerville Middle School conversion phase.
Lisa, if I can jump in on Washington High School Theater.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, last month it was mentioned that there were some new issues that were cropping up almost in real time. At the time we had the meeting, there wasn't a lot of detail, as I recall. but that the cost was probably going up, but I see it's staying the same. So did those problems get resolved?
Actually, Chip, we are going to be submitting a change order request at the next board meeting for Washington Theater. And that total is going to be around $120,000 that we're going to be asking for. And that is going to cover the additional work that was required for, there was some additional dry rot that was discovered in some of the foundation sill plates, as well as sagging in the actual roof structure members that needed to be replaced because the distance between the roofing material and the new members exceeded the amount of distance that was allowed by DSA. We had to basically, fix that. And also the maker space that is adjacent to the theater, the principal informed us that he is receiving a very generous donation of some very expensive CNC machines that will enhance his program. And in order for him to be able to utilize those machines, he actually has to have additional power brought into those spaces. And since we are modifying the space right now, and we've done significant work, we felt that it was appropriate to go ahead and, while the floor and the walls are open, to go and provide him with the power sources that he needs to actually utilize those machines to support the students' programs. So that's what's going to be coming to the board next month. And we'll have that all broken out and detailed for you all to see. And we're going to be asking for an additional $120,000 to be allocated for those items at the theater.
And since that hasn't been put forth yet, we went ahead and left the budget as it is. Okay. Centerville Middle School conversion. Centerville phase 1 and 2 just completed in terms of scope. The scope is complete. They have a punch list walkthrough going on this Friday. So they'll work on the punch list items after that, and then we'll proceed to close out for phase 1 and 2. Phase 3, increment 1, NTP was issued on 4/15. The new building pad has already been, is already in progress. As part of phase 1 and 2, they were able to knock down the 3 buildings that would now encompass the space that the new building is going to be built on. I think it was don't quote me on the other 2. New building pads in progress. They're doing a bang up job on that, of kicking that phase off as well, and are geared up for move out this summer out of the 5 buildings that they will start working on in this summer. So all of those move arrangements are in place. We're going to bring in a couple of 3-4 containers so that we can move out these 5 buildings that are occupied at this time. And then work will start on those. And some of those, a couple of those buildings will be done this summer before, and then we'll move everything back before school starts. And then that leaves us in closeout, Horner Middle School conversion, as we spoke about earlier. The new building is in closeout. The low voltage as-built are under review currently. The contractor is preparing documentation for final closeout. And then we anticipate releasing or having final retention release this month, provided those 2 items are completed on time. And then when I went through and addressed the report, I went ahead and removed all of the items that were listed under complete because they were projects that have been closed for a while. And so I thought, rather than continue to carry those, we'll delete those off, and then anything that completes from here moving forward in this time period, we'll go ahead and move down to complete. That makes sense? Yeah.
Yep.
So any other questions?
I want to comment on, I know the last time we met, Sid, you had brought up some very concerning things that you identified when you were out at site at Horner. And I just wanted to report back to you that I have talked to Cindy, and she has ordered additional trash cans for the for the surrounding area that you had identified. And also the pump that you had shared with us that was leaking, that is actually going to be changed out because we found out that it's been undersized for the amount of volume of water that it has to pump for the soccer field as well as the other ball field. So that is something that M&O as well as the construction teams are working on. So I just wanted to give you an update on that for Horner.
Okay, I will stop sharing. There we go.
So will Horner be ready in the fall when hopefully when classes resume?
Mhm.
Or not till the winter?
Absolutely.
No, it'll be ready to open first to school.
The only thing that's not going to be ready are the PE locker rooms. And we've met with Cindy and her site staff, and she is actually modifying her schedule so that the students will not be changing out the first, I believe it's the first 2 months of activities, because, you know, it's still pretty warm, and with social distancing requirements, you know, they want to make sure that one, everybody is not necessarily stacked up on one another in the locker room, but that, you know, whatever situation is going on with COVID, she has clear direction and standards in place so that by the time we finish, she'll have full access to those locker rooms by probably mid-November to late November, and full use by the springtime for sure.
Very good. Okay, does anybody have questions or comments? Okay, all right, good report. Welcome aboard, Lisa.
Chip, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Benita. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand there. Go ahead.
That's okay. I raised it very last minute. My question was about I know we talked about Horner, that whether it will be ready or not. I know Centerville is going to get started, or it is already in the starting phase. How are we planning to house the students next year, especially because many of the students are still not going to be vaccinated? How are we going to, if it is just the portables? Kelly, do you have any insight?
Actually, I do not, and I believe, Benita, the best place to ask that question would be to the superintendent, since he's going to be reporting out on the back to school plans. Unfortunately, I'm not always in those meetings and have intimate knowledge of like all the drill down details. But if you would like, please feel free to email me your question or email him directly, and we will definitely get an answer for you. But there are many different strategies that are going to be employed, and I am not fully aware of what all of those are, so I do not want to misspeak and share wrong information with you all that doesn't apply to that particular situation.
Fair enough. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you. Great report. Let's see, any school board action items that need to be updated? Kelly?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't have any school board items that need updating at this time.
Okay.
My apologies.
Okay, and we don't have any CBOC special topics for today, but it sounds like we can keep our fingers crossed and maybe hopefully have a meeting at Horner in the very near future. You think that's going to be in the cards? Maybe
my breath and crossing my fingers.
Probably not before summer, but hopefully maybe our first or second meeting in the fall.
Well, you know that I did ask, and so the superintendent said he would get back to me. So
okay, good. All right, great. And then the other topics that we have on our checklist for future meetings are still on our checklist. I think the long range plan and a follow-on briefing on Measure E. So we'll keep them on our list for future things. Anything else that anybody would like to talk about for a future topic, special topic?
Chip, this is Carla. It's not
Hi.
a future topic, but I was wondering, do you know if Kelly, if are they planning to do any sort of like ribbon cutting for Horner?
So they are planning on doing formal openings for Horner, Bringhurst, and also we never had groundbreaking ceremonies for Centerville, Hopkins, and for Thornton. So all of those activities are basically being planned for the fall, but it's all contingent upon, like, if we're allowed to have, you know, large public gatherings and things like that. And so the superintendent has told me just kind of sit tight, and once I have what the decision is, I will definitely share that with everyone, and we will, of course, send out information to the community about that. But the plan is to cross our fingers, is to have all of those activities available for everyone to participate in the fall.
Okay, good. All right, let's go on to other new business and discussion topics. Let's talk about meetings coming up. Our June meeting is actually going to be on May 26th. So that means, you know, only about 2 weeks from now, we have our next meeting. So please keep that on your calendar. I don't know what we would normally do for a finance report. Would we? You probably don't have end of month data yet in time for May 26th, Stanley?
I can always produce in progress data, but yeah, it'll just be 2 weeks later than now. So,
Yeah,
or
right.
3 weeks later. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll do the best you can. And Lisa, I imagine you can do an update, although it's only 2 weeks away, but there could be a small update.
Sure, and we'll send you the photos before then as well.
And the photos, sure.
Yep.
And then traditionally we take July and August off for our summer break, and I presume we would do that again this year. It's kind of been our working tradition. So our next meeting after May 26th would be Wednesday, September 1st. And normally at that meeting, we elect our new officers for the 2021-2022 year. And I don't have a listing of our roster of our members and when they retire and when they, you know, how many years each person has. Does anybody have that list? Brian Kilgore may. I'm sure he probably does. Unless Carla you might be keeping a list, a roster like that. I'm not sure.
I don't have one, but
Okay.
I know that Ken did before, because he was keeping track, because some people are 2-year terms and some people are 3-year terms.
Right.
And so I don't know who would have that list.
Yeah, I'll have to go back through all my notes and see if I can find that, and then I'll work with Jeff Kilgore also, and we'll come
Or
up.
Brian.
Or excuse me, Brian Kilgore. Yeah, Brian Kilgore.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, if Brian has access to Ken's old info, it should be somewhere in there, because I know Ken was keeping track of that.
right. So last, you know, as we led into this year's elections, we kind of did nominations and election or preparation for elections in August via email. So we'll probably do the same thing.
Chip, on the website, they may have, I believe there's a list of the appointees and the expiration date, I think.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
Chip,
great
I had a
idea.
question. Sorry. Chip, I had a question
Yes, go ahead.
regarding this meeting. Do you know if this meeting is telecasted or televised, or is it, because I know Brian is not here and I don't see any indication whether it is getting televised?
I'm not sure about televised, but you see Luis Zamora's name there. Luis comes on. Oh, there he goes. He
Okay.
says it's on YouTube.
Okay,
But
good.
he also is responsible for recording the meeting. And since Brian is not here, Brian said he would develop the minutes of the meeting by watching the videotape.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Right. So we're running a little early. If there's anything else anybody wants to bring up in terms of other new business or discussion topics, we can use a little time. Or anybody have anything? We got through
I
pretty
just
quickly.
think you guys should be very proud of yourselves and your community. There's lots of really great things going on, and I think that it's well worth a drive by to some of the active projects to see that, you know, your decision to approve your bond was one that was very well thought out, and I think you all should be very proud of yourselves and very happy with the outcome of the work that's being done.
I think you're right. I think the project out in the field is through all thick and thin of COVID and everything else has been good. You're right.
But that's all I have.
That seems like an excellent note to end on. Things are going so well. We're able to end early.
We're going to end early. Okay.
Well, it gives me time to get home for FAC.
Oh, there you go.
But Kelly and I are looking at our watches. The next meeting.
I've got exactly, it takes me 22 minutes to drive home. So I have just enough time to pack up my office and jump in the car and head home and then jump back on mine.
All right. Well, we'll welcome Clarissa and Lisa one more time. Great to have you on the team. And
Thank you.
Stanley, you had sort of a
Thank
short
you.
stint. I don't know if you're going to be back next month or not, but if we don't see you next month, good luck in your next endeavor.
Thanks. It was really nice. Thanks.
Everyone else, we'll see you in about 2 weeks.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.